Okay, everybody, let's call the meeting to order for the Downtown Development Authority. It is August the 1st. Roll call. Elizabeth, please.
Tar is absent. Kellogg?
Here.
Malzahn?
Here.
Brandt?
Here.
Rose?
Here.
Hayes?
Here.
Poznanski?
Here.
Parker?
Here.
And Stevens.
Here. Okay, where'd the flag go? Oh.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do we have anybody here for public forum? No? Can I get an approval of the agenda?
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And can we get an approval for the two meetings on July the 11th, the informational meeting minutes and then the regular meeting minutes?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
The only, because John showed up a little bit late. And it says he's absent.
Oh,
It's marked further down in the
It
minutes.
is,
Yeah.
okay.
6:48.
okay.
Where is it?
Anytime there's an absence, if somebody pops in later, it's marked
Okay.
when they popped in later in the minutes.
All in favor?
Aye.
The financial report, Elizabeth?
Yes. Okay. So I'll just read from, Michelle is still doing some transitional stuff for us while we get Rebecca acclimated, so we'll probably see a little bit of her for the next couple months, which is quite helpful, actually. Just a little feedback on this. I don't know if you guys can do something with it. And then we're also working with Plant Moran to help with some of the millage rates and whatnot to come through that. So the financial statements are year-to-date from July 1st to July 22nd, 2022. The month was closed prior to the end of the month due to the timing of the board meeting being August 1st today, but everything included with the exception of the interest income and the July 29th payroll. You see our revenue there. The total bills for July, if you remember from last month's meeting, included year-end items that were paid, but they didn't show up on the bills, and she had mentioned, it was mentioned in last month's report that they would come up on this month. And then, so the work that was completed by finance was entering the invoice, checks, processing payroll, and closing the month through July 26th, and schedules and training our new bookkeeper. So, is there any questions on the financials?
Does it show what you just mentioned as far as what were already paid but did not show up until this month as far as that figure?
Yes, so if you look at the statement of activity, and if you look at your, let me see where she directed me on that. So you have just give me a quick second. Remember, you didn't hire me to do finance. I'll just gotta find this stuff real quick.
We have the cash transactions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's, so if you look at all the cash transactions, you see where it's the 2905,361, and then it shows you that we have, so then we have our balance is 282,127.84.
So the two payments to Vans Valley on the same day, was that the July 1st, was that missed?
Yeah, can you tell me which page you're on?
It's the cash transactions.
Are they both,
It's on July the 26th. Check
Yep.
3072 Vans Valley, 3412.
no, the other one is dated 7/5.
No, they're both dated this 26th.
So Vans Valley check 3072,
752.
it's 7/5/22.
Oh, okay. Yep, okay. So that answers the
It
question.
may have to be.
So it printed on the 26th, but it was dated for the 1st.
Okay.
So it wouldn't, so it wasn't
Time
get out till, exactly. So that way it could get out on time this week, since we don't have someone in every week doing at this point, unless we have a major event happening, you know, we can, last time I think we went 2.5 weeks without getting any bills paid or anything because there wasn't much to do. So that's saving us money in the long run.
Any other questions?
That 10,000, that's the, to the Village of Romeo, that's for the crosswalk project?
Yes, that's 10,000 out of the 90,000 total amount that was board approved.
So that
last fiscal
10,000
year.
really came out of last year's fiscal.
Correct.
So we have a combo of payments in this amount right here.
Correct.
So that one Vans Valley should have been in that one? Okay.
Correct, yeah, so it's not coming out of, so when you look at the, the budget to actuals, which is the third page in that packet, the second financial one, you'll see the percentages on the sides. You'll see that, you know, we've only used, actually, you know, we've only used less than 5% of our budget so far.
Okay.
So,
I will make a motion to pay the bills of $29,053.61 for the month of July.
Support.
I'll second.
sorry, who was, support was from Christine?
Yeah.
Okay,
Roll call?
sure. Poznanski?
Yes?
Rose?
Yes?
Brandt?
Question, I'm getting a check, do I abstain?
Oh, you can, yes. All right, and then I'll put that in the minutes as far as what the reasoning is. Okay. Parker?
Yes.
Hayes?
Yes.
Kellogg?
Yes.
Malzahn?
Also abstain.
And Stevens?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, okay, so we are on to,
Director
Uh-huh.
report.
I had it a little out of order there for a second. Okay, so, as a nod to you, Kelly, I made it a little shorter this month. Then, of course, I had to add stuff on. The Michigan Municipal League Grant, we've applied for the $5,000 Bridge Builders Main Street Grant. A copy of the application is available if you'd like to see that. Local artist Cindy Maitland has agreed to design the mural, and Tar Financial is donating the wall for it to be displayed on. Should we move into the next round of consideration, that date would begin August 22nd for online voting. Completion date for the mural would be sometime in the spring of 2023. So we have some ideas of what that could look like, and you know, if we progress into the next phase, of course, we'll keep you up to speed on that. And I would like to, you know, give the credit to Madison. She submitted that grant. So she did, we worked together on the legwork on it, but that was totally her completing that. So she said it was much like completing a college application. Is that what she said?
Oh, yes.
The Michigan Downtown Association will be featuring Michigan DDAs on their social media pages with photos and descriptions. We submitted our entry last week highlighting Winterfest, Vintage Fest, and our new website. In addition, that's not in there, September 24th is Michigan Downtown Day, which is an MDA event, and so we'll have more information on that next month, and we'll see if there's some promotional materials and whatnot that might come out of that. In addition to that, I know you all have been invited to the MDA event that is happening in Lake Orion and Oxford on Wednesday night. If anybody wants to come last minute, you're welcome to. Our fee is included, but if anyone else wanted to come, there's a couple of members from the community that are going. It's $15 a ticket, and the proceeds are benefiting the Downtown Holly Restoration Fund. Under events, our DDA event committee continues to meet weekly. The planning of Screech Fest is underway. It has been decided to call it Screech Fest Weekends in October. More details could be presented tonight, but won't be presented tonight. We plan to reuse some of our banners and do something creative with them, and we'll talk about that a little later under new business. And so save the date. And then we've also talked about our second annual Winterfest to be held on February 6th, 2023. We've already put a post out there and got quite a few people that are interested in that. And the alley project, you're familiar with those. I've been updating you on that. As you can see also from last month, we haven't actually spent any more money in the alley project as of yet, but we've still got quite a bit extra funds left in there. Under marketing, publications, and communication, we're working on the second edition of the shopping and dining guides. That should be released just before Peach Fest. And I'm pleased to include a lovely email that I received from Tom Arbron of Arbron Media Associates. He's a former Romeo resident who was a guest during the annual garden walk. It was encouraging to read that our efforts received a stamp of approval from a marketing company, and there was no cost associated with it. So don't know if you had a chance to read that. I hope you take the time to read that. So when he was at my house, I gave him my card, and I said, well, since you're marketing, I can't pay you, but if you want to look at all of this and give me your opinion, I'd love to hear it. So 2 days later, he gave us the opinion with the email. One last thing, downtown apparel, actually two. The downtown apparel and flags are going to be available for businesses to sell. We have 3 businesses that are interested in doing that, and so they'll be buying them at wholesale and then selling them at the suggested retail price. And so we'll have that consistent price throughout town. So people can buy those. And then our flags just came in, and those are available for $30 a piece. So we've already there were some pre-orders. So, and I think Kelly, you got one too, I think. So if anybody's interested in those are $30, and you can get them either from myself or you can pay through FAMS. And one last thing under the director's report. As I was walking around town, I noticed the sign that was in the parking lot on Bailey Street that says landscaping maintained by the Romeo DDA in cooperation with Dalco Services. So I looked up, called the phone number on it, and they said, no, we don't do that anymore. So they are going to kindly go and get the sign, so it's not there anymore. But I think at some point it would be good to find out what is the relationship between the DDA, the village, with just some of the other areas within the village where, this time of year weeds start growing, and whose responsibility is that? How do we maintain that and whatnot? And I figured they didn't want their name, nor do we want our name on something that has a little bit of needs that need to be made. Plus, the sign looks pretty old, so I took care of that as well. So, any questions on any of that?
I do, and I apologize if I just don't see it here. Referring to the alley beautification, where are those funds?
It's all within the budget. It's all within our budget, and it's allocated within.
It's not one of these line items specifically.
Correct, because it was never approved to be a line item. But we went to a category budget as opposed to a line item budget.
Yeah, but so that category,
So-
where I'm looking.
Sure, so that is, give me just a quick second to think about that. So it comes in as revenue, it comes in and it came in, you'll see it under revenue.
And I'm sorry, I know this whole accounting part has been thrown at you, so. thank
No,
you.
that's okay. All of those funds came in the last fiscal year, so they
Right,
came in
so
under donations.
Right now, we're only at 2,000, but if we were looking, because this is for this year, but if we go back and look at the budget versus actual, the donations would be under that they've taken in.
So that essentially is the line item at this moment.
Yeah, as the revenue, donations and miscellaneous.
And it's not earmarked alley project.
Correct, because it was not approved as a line item change in last year's budget. So spending was done under the expenditure line, the municipal code, under downtown beautification is where the money was.
That answers it. Thank you.
Sure, no problem.
Any other questions? Okay, funding request. I guess I'll go first. I'm going to ask you guys to approve a request of $800 for this year's art and wine walk. That is what I usually use for the printing and the raffle baskets that we get. That's the same amount you guys have done for the last, I think, 6 years.
I'll make a motion to approve the amount of $800 for the art and wine walk.
Support.
Okay, give me 1 second. This one I don't have an action item on, so you guys are gonna give me a chance to write this down. I don't have Debbie's shorthand. Yeah. Okay, and that was John?
John, yep.
Okay,
And then Megan supported.
okay,
And roll call, please.
okay. Okay, Char is absent. Kellogg?
Yes.
Malzahn?
Yes.
Brandt?
Yes.
Rose?
Yes.
Hayes?
Yes.
Poznanski?
Yes.
Stevens?
I'll not vote on that.
Okay. And Parker? Okay.
Thank you, guys. And that is the October the 14th, Friday, October the 14th, from 6 to 9. Okay, our next funding request is from Pam Gerder. Pam, do you want to come up to the? Get it. Okay, okay. Yep.
Hi, I'm Lucy Garcia. I'm an upcoming junior at Romeo High School.
Hi, my name's Aurelia Woodcock. I'm an upcoming sophomore at Romeo High School. If you aren't familiar with SERVE, we are a student-based community service group, and every year our members volunteer hundreds of hours throughout their high school experience. And senior members have the opportunity to apply for a SERVE scholarship with the idea of, for a SERVE scholarship. To apply for a SERVE scholarship, since we are a self-funded group, we came up with the idea of a downtown Romeo scavenger hunt to help raise money for our scholarships.
This event not only raises much needed funds, but it also highlights many businesses of downtown Romeo. We depend on all our sponsorships to run our events. All of our sponsors are displayed on a flyer as well as social media posts. Because of the generosity of our community, SERVE was able to award 3 $500 scholarships to the class of 2022. Thank you for your time, and we appreciate your consideration.
Thank you.
Good job.
So just a little background on this. Pam had mentioned in the springtime, after they did so much help with, Vintage Fest and Winter Fest and the Arbor Day celebration, she mentioned that they were looking at doing a scavenger hunt exclusively in downtown Romeo. And so that's why they're here. Yeah.
Great. Well, I'll make a motion to approve the funding request in the amount requested of $500.
I'll second.
Roll call?
Okay. Kellogg,
Yes.
Malzahn,
Yes?
Brandt,
Yes.
Rose,
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
Poznanski,
Yes.
Stevens,
Yes.
Parker.
Yes.
All right. Well, you
Good
guys
job,
just hit the
girls.
easy button. Congratulations.
Have fun planning.
Happy, exactly, happy
Yeah.
planning.
When is that going to be?
I think it said the 15th.
The day after.
Oh,
the
that's right.
sidewalk.
Yeah.
Saturday, October 15th, we don't have a time, so I will be sometime in the afternoon.
So it falls in line with our Screech Fest, with our weekends.
I
So
know
it's
we
one
have
of the
so
events.
many
Yeah.
people come through the chamber office on the Art and Wine Walk. If you have a flyer for that, we could be handing that out at the same time.
Yes, we absolutely will. Hopefully, by the time school starts, we'll have our flyer ready to go.
Okay, great. Good luck, girls.
Thank you so much.
You're
Yeah.
not.
You're entitled to leave now, yes.
I'll get you taking minutes in a second if you're not careful.
Oh, they want to stay? Okay, great. They're learning. Okay, our committee reports. We have no updates on the policy committee currently. Parking study committee?
Just the updates that I've put to you in emails, just as far as in regards to signs and that type of thing, but there's nothing else that we've not met on anything. Although there's something in the works right now that'll be exciting to hopefully share with you next month about a parking opportunity, so.
You always have something in the works.
I know.
Okay, unfinished business, pedestrian crosswalk project update.
President Malzahn, can I just hand that over to you? We've been working in tandem on this, and it's been, progress is happening. It's a bit of a mousetrap, but just a sideline, I was in Royal Oak yesterday doing some work down there, and I was in a residential area, and it made our downtown look so easy to navigate. Every single street had, you had to do this number, and there were 1 or 2 cones per cutout side. I don't know how there aren't a million cars in these holes, so I'm grateful actually seeing that, about our crew. So anyways.
That's true. We did have a site meeting last week, Elizabeth and I did, with our engineering and the contractor, a couple of people from Rowe, just to make sure that we were all on the same page and understanding the positioning. There was a slight delay when they did the demo at Lafayette Street, there was supposed to be a water, a sanitary hookup, and it's missing. They couldn't find it. Instead, they found a cast iron pipe that was directly in the way of where the new pipe was supposed to go. So it created a bit of a problem. And so it took our engineering firm and our contractor to work with our DPW about 3 days to make a plan. It's a very good plan, and it's been approved. We had to get the road commission's approval. It actually is gonna save money on the project overall, because they did find another storm sewer that was not, again, on the plan. They unearthed it, they backed it out, they realized that it was still able to port that water, so they're gonna reroute the pipe, and it should save money on the Lafayette side overall. So that's back on. And what we asked was that there was a slight delay, and Elizabeth and I said, look, really, can we make some consideration for all of our businesses that obviously have no parking in front of them? Can we tidy up and complete some of the other quadrants? You know, the contractor, of course, wanted to get the best economy of scale as he could, you know, to bring in all of the concrete work at one time, but we asked him if he could please be considerate of the businesses and do whatever he could to button it up. So I believe at the end of this week, we anticipate St. Clair being completed, so that a traffic shift should be over. And I think they're gonna be, if not near completed, completed enough to open up Newberry and the west side of Washington Street. Lafayette obviously will still be in construction, and then they'll begin the east side of Van Dyke later. So we're gonna have weekly meetings with them, just to make sure that, again, we're all on board and working under the same time frame as we get down to the nitty gritty. The contractor still doesn't feel that he needs to work on Saturdays. You know, we had a little bit of concern about that. Evenings and Saturdays were available and on the table when the project was awarded, but he still thinks that he can accomplish it without doing that, so we're leaving him to to his best faith.
What's his target date?
His target date is August 19th. Originally, it was August 4th. We understood that there was a delay in getting the permit, so we extended it to August 19th. And so far, weather permitting, we're gonna meet that target, so.
And having the weekly meetings is really pretty much to hold our hand to the fire a little bit more. Like, it's not okay for us to have this, you know, constant state of, I mean, construction's everywhere, right? You can't avoid it, but we need to look out for our businesses and for our residents and the visitors and whatnot.
But
so.
they did a really good job right
Yeah.
after that meeting of going out and making sure all the cones were realigned, because it was kind of getting a hot mess as people, you know, cars hit them and people nudged them aside, and we asked if we could remove some of the concrete. Right, there was a lot of staging of equipment that was on Van Dyke, and we said, hey, if you already have Newberry closed, why can't you park it around the corner there, so that it was a little bit cleaner? And so, and the crew accommodated that. We were very grateful for Nick and the work that he's doing with Warren Construction. So that's it. Anybody have any questions on that?
I guess our communication's working. You guys don't have
Your
any questions.
video
Right?
was awesome.
Oh, yes. Well, yeah. We have,
good.
one of the rails went missing. We're investigating the video footage that's available from some of the other local merchants to figure out what happened to one of the rails
Wow.
that went missing. So we're
Not sure how
hoping
somebody
that-
got sticky fingers. Those things are pretty heavy,
Yeah.
but somebody apparently did.
Yeah.
But we're hoping to do something really cool at some future art project with one of those rails. Would be pretty cool to
But
incorporate
you
that
both
somehow.
have made construction fun.
It is fun. We're not actually doing it, but I might want to get one of those machines someday. I don't know.
Between her idea fairy that just wreaks havoc in what's going on and my excitement for the Village of Romeo, we make a good team in that effort. So we can always
Sure.
try and put a happy face on it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, Madison, Vintage Fest update. Would you like me to
You can stay.
here,
You can
or-
stay right here because there's a microphone if you'd like, and it's up to them though.
Have you recovered yet?
I think I've caught up on my sleep about now. You know, it's taken a little bit, but I'm there.
You sure worked hard.
So, I guess I'll hang out here. The inaugural Romeo Vintage Fest that was held on Saturday, July 9th was an amazing success. So the final event consisted of a full car show. We had just over 50 classic cars downtown, all in that North Main Street block, and we had a couple wrapping around down back towards the Village Park. We had pie eating contests at People Driven Credit Union. They had an amazing turnout. Pie was enjoyed everywhere. Everyone enjoys apple pie.
for future reference. Live performances all day long at the main stage as well as at the beer and wine tent. Vendor show in the Village Park, children's crafts, the beer and wine tent, an antique auction, and live dancing in the streets in the evening. These elements brought together people in the streets to relish in our downtown, and was even the launch for an expansion of MJC Marketplace. If you guys haven't gotten a chance to look inside the expansion yet, I highly recommend it. As well as it was the grand opening for the Romeo Town Hall soda fountain. So that's in the old bank side of Town Hall Antiques. Also, try the floats. After the event, our planning committee met to discuss options for next year regarding dates and other event structures to make improvements for our downtown businesses and visitors. So on the following 2 pages is a comprehensive overview of involvement from volunteers and a expense report of the event. So that first page there is a volunteer report. So we don't have to go through everyone, but I do want to give a couple shout outs to some of our most involved volunteers. The first one is Trisha LaValle. She's been with us since Winterfest. I don't think she was involved with anything preemptively there, and she was just helping all the time. She was there for the full day for Vintage Fest. She's very dedicated to the community and just is loving to be involved, and she's been very supportive of anything coming up in the future. We've talked to her, and she's like, I will be there. I will help you guys get things figured out. Another great help was Marguerite Leonard from the Masons. She's also been on since Winterfest and has helped us coordinate some of our different aspects that Trisha isn't helping with, and she's also been an idea fairy at one of our past meetings. When we were trying to come up with, what are we going to do in October? She looked up and she was like, Screech Fest. Amazing. But she has been an absolute wonder to work with. So we have a grand total of volunteer hours between 150 and about 200 hours of volunteer work. And this does not include any volunteers that help support the beer and wine tent, because that was an individual event during the day, as well as any volunteers involved with the antique auction, because that was also self-contained. So, next page for the budget report. We're all patiently awaiting the monies that came out. So the event had a starting total budget of $5,000 approved by this board, and came up to an expense total of just over that. But we raised money through sponsorships. If you look down at the bottom here for just sponsorships, we got $2,050 in sponsorships, and that does not include in-kind donations, which estimated to about $1,400. So in actuality, we held a net total budget of $7,000 and $7,050 from sponsorship donations and vendor income. So if you go down a little bit, it does not include any sales of shirts or stickers. So in reality, we added just over $1,600 as revenue from Vintage Fest. So the first time going out for this event, I'd say that's not too shabby. Does anyone have any questions, comments, concerns?
Now, the stickers we got in the mail, is that part of this, or is that a different line item?
So the Vintage Fest stickers, those were a part of our purchasing for this event. So that was kind of a separate section, because we bought all of them.
Okay.
I think you're still waiting on the invoice from Zach for that. I don't think we need you for that.
Yeah.
We haven't checked those yet,
Yeah.
beyond that they're coming. Yeah.
So they were part of the expenses budgeted in. So throughout the costs of what was supposed to be spent, that is already in there.
So the 1,600 in revenue is just,
It shows up under other revenue, donations, and miscellaneous as revenue.
right, but it's not, it's just because we approved 5,000, we're treating anything above that as revenue? Because this 7,000 was spent.
No,
It's still
no,
revenue.
7,000 wasn't spent, 5387 was spent.
80.
Yeah, so we spent just over $5,000, but through the sponsorships that we received,
Mhm.
we reached the actual total number of just over $7,000. So that number there, the 1,600, that is the, I guess, the leftover budget in total, if that makes sense.
Leftover budget, okay,
Yeah.
that makes more sense.
So maybe revenue is not the correct term,
Right.
but.
It's just that much less that we didn't spend on the budget that we approved for
Right.
it. Gotcha.
But $2,050 is still revenue because it's money that came in that we
Right.
didn't have before.
Sure.
Do you have any data on how many people came into town like you did for Winterfest or not?
Not yet, we have not been in communication with the county on that
Okay.
just yet. We will.
Good job.
There was a lot of people, great job, it was
Yeah.
incredible.
The weather could not have been better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a huge
Again,
factor.
I mean,
The dancing in the street, and when you first brought it up, I'm like, I don't know who's gonna dance in the street, but it was a big hit.
Well, thank you all for the first approval of the event in the first place and the budget, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, on to new business. DDA banner inventory.
So I know you all have, let me get my microphone back over here. I know you all have seen this inventory before, but instead of just, imagining what it used to look like, I included it in the board packet. We've had a couple, well, I should say we've had a request from two of the Lions. They do not want to see the Peach Fest full color banner, the one that's in the bottom middle, where it says Michigan Peach Fest, because it's not Michigan Peach Fest, apparently it's Romeo Peach Festival. So they don't want to see those put back up, and they are asking if they can have them. So there's 63 of them. I've asked several board members, I've asked people who've been on the DDA board in times past, who actually paid for those. The only thing that's on the bottom of it, it says romeodda.org. So I don't know what the board, I didn't feel it was appropriate for me to give away DDA assets without this board's approval or denial. So I'm asking you kind of what you think about
Do you know their objective?
doing
What do they-
that.
What do they want them for?
I think they're just gonna distribute them to members. I don't know if they're gonna use them as a fundraiser. For some reason, there's one down by where the Feathered Friends,
Frontier
it's on a
Town.
tree
Mhm.
in front of Frontier Town. It's the same. I have no clue how it got there, but it's been there for a few years. So I don't know. But it's, if it's never gonna be used again, 63 of them are probably taking up, what, 2 bins
Yeah.
in DPW? So,
Are they offering to purchase them?
no one seems to know who paid for them. That's the problem. So, no, they did not offer to pay for them.
Well, we didn't pay for the other ones either, yet we have these ones?
These are all in our inventory. Everything on this sheet is everything in our inventory.
Yeah, the bottom, the ones on the bottom right were
They
just
just
from
bought
last
those
year.
last
They
year.
paid
Yeah.
for those.
But
We
yet
did
we
not pay
have them,
for
so
them.
I mean, it really could be either way.
Yeah, because I would imagine they just ended up at DPW because they took
Because
it
they took
down.
them down.
Yeah,
Right.
so it could be the same thing.
'Cause-
And plus, it's got, I know the website redirects anyway, but
Mhm.
it's
Yeah.
not what we want to promote either way,
And what are those other Romeo ones?
Pardon?
The top?
Well, those are the ones we'd like to repurpose for Screech Fest.
Oh, okay, okay.
So if we can take them and take some artistic liberty with those, there's only 24 of them. As you can see, they're quite old, but we could do some fun stuff with that, I think. So that was the other part of this conversation is just, if there's, I don't know that you actually need to make a motion in a second and vote. I mean, just
Well, I guess
wanted to
my
have the
question is-
conversation.
There's only 12 of the brand new ones, right? Or 11?
They're looking to do new ones.
Oh, they are?
I haven't,
Okay.
I have not had the, I've been asking, but they don't have a plan for new ones just yet, so.
I think it was more what can be pulled off in a short amount of time.
Okay.
From last year, but I would ask that we could maybe keep a few of them just for archive purposes.
Sure.
Because it's something that has, I
Even
think
send
some
one over to the
historical
Historical
value, but
Society.
I don't, if they want to use them and they're never gonna be hung up again, I don't
I don't
see
have a
why we
problem,
wouldn't.
yeah.
So what do you consider a
Grant the
few?
request.
3, 5?
3, I
Well,
mean.
keep 3 and get rid of the 60.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if you need a motion on that, because we're giving away an asset that may or may not belong to us, I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All right, hold on a second. Okay, do you want to just do all in favor?
Yeah. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Okay.
Are we also giving back the blue ones too? They want new ones then?
I think we can,
Wait and see what
accounting-wise,
they're.
I think they plan on using those, if I'm not mistaken, but those do belong to them. They definitely,
Yeah.
I know we didn't pay for those.
But, okay, if we're paying to put them up and take them down.
We're not this
No,
year.
we should
Oh,
not
we're
be.
not? Okay.
No, we're not this year.
Okay.
The conversation I had when I met with them was they're gonna use the ones they have. There's the conversation of, could you co-fund it? And I said, well, how many are you doing? Let's talk about that. But they might just intermingle these with the American flag ones that are already up. So that might be an option too.
Okay.
So,
Well, what happened with the 11, and we had student banners up, so we only had so many poles that we would give them to put stuff on. You recall, we kept the student ones up, and then we let them do like the four corners, and
Yeah,
then
it was
the
only
entrances to
on, like,
town, so
Main
that's
Street.
why I believe there was only 11, because we were only offering so much space.
Yeah, you're right. I don't remember specifically, but.
But I think that's what she just said. If
Mhm.
they only do these 11, you're gonna keep up the flag
keep up
ones.
the flag ones, right, yep,
Okay.
until we switch it over to October festivities, so. Okay, thank you for the direction on that.
Okay, 22 fall and Christmas lighting inventory.
Sure, want me to go ahead?
Mhm.
Okay, so a couple weeks ago, Carl came in and we went over some items. I also spoke on the phone with Matt Jarosh about the inventory for, well, I might as well just read the background. Existing inventory was inspected, reviewed, and discussed with Carl Brandt and Matt Jarosh. It was agreed that adding Halloween lighting to West and East St. Clair would be beneficial and festive. Many of our existing lights for both the lamp poles and the Christmas tree displays need to be replaced, so not for the fall, but for the Christmas time. The quote includes adding an additional 10 businesses on a first-come, first-served basis to participate in the Christmas tree displays. In addition, we would be replacing 2 of the 4-foot stars that are atop large lighted tree displays that are on 2 rooftops. Incidentals like red replacement bulbs for the snowflakes, extension cords, zip ties, et cetera, are also budgeted for. As you see, we created a spreadsheet so you could see what those different quotes were. And then the estimate that's attached is the one that actually is the least expensive, but there's items that we still need to purchase for that, which would be the stars. We can't get the stars from the same vendors, and Carl and I haven't, did I explain that well enough, do you think, Carl? In the background?
How many businesses do we currently do the trees on?
9.
So we're looking to add 10 more?
Well, it was 8 when I was in your office, but I see.
Well, we rounded it up because with the vendors, they sell the lights in packs.
Okay.
And so they were there. I guess, Carl, do you want to speak to some of your thoughts as far as the volunteer, what that would look like if we added more?
Well, I'm comfortable doing the ones that I do with the people that I have, and I told Elizabeth if we had a group of people that wanted to help out, that would be great. I just didn't feel like every business owner that would want this on the front of their property would want a bunch of people trouncing around on their roof, because I know how that is. So, that's why I volunteered to do the top part, because having a building, I'm careful on the rooftop, but it's up to everybody. It's gonna be up to the business owners, so that's the only thoughts I had on it.
So you are keeping the businesses that have already been in place?
Yeah,
Okay.
we had talked about replacing about half of the light strands on each of the buildings that we do need to be replaced. They get cold and brittle and they
Right.
snap, they wear out, so we're at about half replacement from what we did 2 years ago. That's keeping all the ones that we're currently doing and storing the lights in the current buildings.
Do you have mine?
I have yours.
I just,
Yep.
Where'd they go, huh?
I'm cleaning things up and it's,
Yeah, I have them.
Okay, so the $6,361.99 also includes the extra fall lighting on
Correct.
this thing.
Yes, correct.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve the purchase of the downtown lighting for fall and Christmas in the amount not to exceed $6361.99.
I'll second.
Was that Kellogg second?
Can I ask, where are the replacements that you just referred to that are needed in this list?
It's on
That's,
this thing. Purchase order.
that the creative displays.
Yes, and I have sticky notes. Oh, I know where it is. Give me 1 second. I have
Is it on the estimate?
right. Ha, give me 1 second. I got it right here. Cindy looked at me funny when I was leaving because my bag was so heavy. Okay, so on the estimate that you all are looking at, the replacement lights for Carl would be the top 3 categories where you see 20, 20, 20, or quantity 20, 20, 20. That total amount would be $1,504 for replacement lights, $1,504. If we added 10 trees, it would double that amount, right? Because it would just be, because that's the equivalent with when we talked through this, he and I talked through the strand numbers needed. Then the next section where it says the LED M5s, the reds, the white, the red, the purple, the orange, that's for fall and winter. Some of those are replacements that Matt Jaros suggested to have some replacement lights. So $583 of that is for the replacements for Christmas. And then the fall amount additional for adding lights up and down 32 Mile would be $825. And then the red individual bulbs below that, the quantity of 200, that's the additional there.
So, what's the life expectancy for this stuff, Carl?
Well, it seems like 2 years for half of them, so if you average that, I guess 3 years for all of them, every 3 years.
So we need to be budgeting,
If we stay with the same stuff.
I mean, we need to be budgeting $3,000 to $4,000 or $5,000 a year for these.
And you have 8,000 in the budget.
Okay, I just want to
Currently.
make sure that we've covered that.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor in a second.
Yes, just for clarity, I forgot that I had done this. So on the sheet with the really little
I was gonna let
writing,
you ask questions after this.
it has all the details of how much it is for each one, plus this and so forth, so.
Yes.
John, no, you can't ask questions after you vote.
I was just
I mean,
saying,
he can ask questions now, but if we vote,
then there's no point in asking the question.
Well, the roll call hasn't been taken yet.
Yeah.
right, that's,
So
So
I'm
ask
sorry.
question.
I'm sorry, Kelly.
Okay.
May I ask another question?
Yeah.
So, we could, in effect, I guess my question is 10 new businesses a little aggressive? And I guess I'm gonna turn to Carl, since you're the one that's out there doing these. You've got 8 already?
We do 9. It's
Not
9 plus
9
mine.
already, and
9
we
plus
wanna
mine-
add 10.
mine banners.
I would love to see 10, but I wanna be realistic.
Right.
I
agree.
haven't been out there climbing those ladders and climbing on the roofs. So that's my question to you, Carl, is are you comfortable with 10 more? And I know you're not doing it, we need to find people to help doing it, but still, it's
Yeah.
a lot.
and I think it's gonna depend on what buildings are committing to this, because every roof line's gonna be different, and
Yeah,
access
and
is
if we
gonna
don't
be-
do all 10 new ones, well, then there's our replacements that would
True.
fix whatever
Mhm.
additional, existing ones need to be fixed.
So
Or you
we-
have them at this year's prices without, you have backups for next year too. If they don't all get filled, you have that option too. And we're still
If
under
there's not-
budget.
If there's not 10 businesses that want it, we would still own the lights, is a good point.
Mhm.
Do we have any east-west?
For the fall ones.
For Christmas, you mean?
Yeah.
Bill's are on East, on his building.
Here on-
Did we
I have
ask-
it on the corner, the front,
Mhm.
and on the side.
Did we ask Katie? She might be, I would think maybe, because that pulled right into the end there.
Yeah.
We haven't asked anyone because it didn't come before this board yet. So if it's approved, we'll be reaching out to the full.
But maybe that's what we should do. If
CBD.
we get 10 people that want it, and it's reasonable to do the easier buildings, maybe 20 people, and there's 10 that are very hard to do. Maybe we just, not first come, first serve, but ease of.
Determined by the
ease
building.
of-
Get it to-
First
get-
come
get
makes
some-
sense.
Get some east.
How about that?
Get some east-west.
I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
Katie's neighbor would do it, for sure.
I think that, when you start talking in that regard, it runs a risk of looking, if all those 10 new businesses are in one small area,
Right.
then where's your actual footprint of these lights? You're not getting the most bang for your buck. So I think maybe if there was maybe a list of 10 or 15 businesses we could target, and then send the request out instead of just throwing everything out there and seeing what sticks, and that way
That
there's some
makes sense.
strategy behind it.
That's a good idea.
Well, maybe have the list of the current ones right now. where
I
the
see your
place-
map being used.
Mhm.
Get out your map, get out your little
Mhm. I love
Post-it
my
notes
map.
with little Christmas trees.
How about
and
Carl
then-
and I just work together
Yeah,
on
we can
this, and
strategize that, yeah.
we'll come up with something that makes sense. Okay.
Ready to vote?
Roll call?
Yes. Kellogg?
Yes.
Malzahn?
Yes.
Brandt?
Yes.
Rose?
Yes.
Hayes?
Yes.
Poznanski?
Yes.
Stevens?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Okay. I appreciate Carl's historical knowledge on all that, because I don't know how we would have got through any of that without him, so. All right.
Okay, fall lighting contract.
Okay, the next one up, we, as you know, we put out RFQs for both the fall and the Christmas lighting on this one. If you see on the second page, we had four bids that came in, with quite the range of costs, as you can see, on that, and some of them didn't quite, they'd never bid on it before, so they weren't quite sure what the scope of work was on it. So we are proposing to expand our orange and purple lights to include an additional 20 poles on West and East St. Clair. We'd like to have the village lit up a bit more for the fall festivities. Price increase in installation is due to these additional poles and other installation expenses going up this year. As you can see, there's a recommendation there, and then also I wanted to include in the background what rates were paid in recent years that I could quickly get at by my fingertips. So 21 and 2020 rates are right there. So
I'll make a motion to approve Cold Frame Farm LLC to install and maintain the 2022 fall streetscape lighting at a cost of $2,150 with a maintenance cost not to exceed $250 for a total of $2,400.
Support.
Roll call?
do you have any discussion on that or no?
Discussion.
Sorry.
Nope. Roll call?
Okay. Kellogg?
Yes.
Malzahn?
Yes.
Brandt?
Yes.
Rose?
Yes.
Hayes?
Yes.
Poznanski?
Yes.
Stevens?
Yes, sorry.
That's okay. And Parker?
Yes.
Okay. All right, you ready for the next one?
Our winter lighting and live greens contract.
Sure. Okay, so just a little background on that. Same thing, these were put out at the same time. We got two bids in, had questions, of course, from both. Of course, you all know Matt, we worked with him. You all have worked with him for quite some time. The background, we're proposing the award to Faith Lodge for some of the information that's on here. I had a typo in my original action item. I was mixing it up with one of the bidders from the fall lighting that was from Armada, but Faith Lawn is from South Lyon and Duran. They hold 14 lighting contracts with other municipalities and DDAs. Several of the references have been checked. The price decrease could help offset some of the other lighting expenses and the increase in our fall lighting contract. One of the things that you all have commissioned me to do is be responsible with the budget, and based on the expenses of the fall lighting under the line items under the budget, you have $1,500 for this year, but the amount you just approved is $2,400. The line item for holiday and winter greens and lighting is $15,000, and right now, if you were to approve what I'm recommending, that cost would be $12,300. Plus, there's also the fall decor one that, hasn't gone out for RFP ever, from what I can see. And so adding all of those up together, if you were to award it as presented, we would be $99 over budget. So that's where we're kind of at with all of that. I know Zach had checked a couple of the references, and you can see, because you all got the copies of the different bids. Talked to Matt earlier today. He asked if he could come. Of course he can be here. It's a public meeting. So I don't know. I think he might have some things he might want to say, but I just don't know if you have any questions or when you feel that would be appropriate.
Matt, why don't you?
Yeah, sure. Thanks for letting me speak. Thanks for all the years you allowed us to do this job. A lot of the last few years, we've, just kind of, it's been kind of thrown at us, and we've done it, and we were happy to do it, and we're grateful for the work, of course. My guys and I really enjoyed doing the job. When I talked to Elizabeth, I told her about, there's some needs, the snowflakes are dying, and, things getting old. We've been doing it since '09, you know. So the materials, they break down. Had pretty good luck with the string lights that they purchased originally. Snowflakes they need help every year. When I bring them to the farm, we go through them, you know, fix whatever I can fix on them, clean them all up. Same with the strings, we check all those. There was some items missed in the request, not your fault, but we talked about doing the snowflakes in stark weather, and that's going to require anchors and cabling for the snowflakes. The cables that are there probably will not work anymore because we're going to different distances. So that would be a line item that myself, I put it in mine. Your other guy may have to add that. I don't know, you know, if he included that or not, or if he even knew that. I told her that I want to say it's Parker Alley over there by the sushi.
Yeah.
We couldn't put the snowflakes up there because the Edison lights are up. They used our hooks when they put the Edison lights up, so we really can't. I mean, we had good success with those anchors that we put in years ago. I did that myself, and we've had great success with them, but I don't feel comfortable stringing and having those lights as well. You know, I'm not an engineer. It might work, but I don't really want to do that. And you know, the height thing too. So that would be out. But you know, we have done it for many years. We're very grateful for the work. Whether we get it or not, we understand. You know, everybody has a budget. And the thing was, I was pushing Elizabeth, and she really worked hard because last year, a week before our install, our supplier just said, we're not giving you the greens because he didn't have anybody to do it. So I scrambled. We got it together. It was tough, but we did it. So that's why I said to her, you know, nobody's thinking about this right now in the middle of summer. We're thinking about Peach Festival and vacations and such. So, but this is really important for the contractors because we have to have time to get lined up with these suppliers. They start cutting in October, and their orders are filled before then. So it's really critical that you get this out in the future. I mean, I'm not going to tell anybody how to do their job. So I just want to thank you again for everything you've done for us, and hopefully you've been satisfied with what we've done. And if I can assist her in any way, you know I will. You know, no problem.
Yeah,
Thank you.
You've always done a terrific job.
Thank you.
I've been, you know,
Yep.
on the DDA, I think the first year that you started with Janine Zabuto.
Yep,
right?
yep.
And every year, your designs, your work, your maintenance, your care is stellar.
Yep.
The wreaths that you design or your wife designed
Yep.
in the front of the village office are spectacular.
Thank you.
So many people really comment on it, and I can't thank you enough
Yep.
for
No worries.
making our holidays as spectacular as they have looked in the past.
We enjoy doing it, for sure, for sure. Thank you so much, everybody.
Man, I got a quick
Yep.
question for you. How many bulbs are you guys replacing on an annual basis?
On the snowflakes,
Just on any of the lighting or any?
well, the strings you just throw them out. I mean, if you can replace the fuses, half the strings go out. We might throw out 10 to 12 strings a year.
And how many lights are on it?
And there's probably over, I'm gonna say there's probably a couple hundred lights on each snowflake that goes on the poles.
Okay.
So, you know, most of the time they're just loose.
Right.
Tighten them up. But yes, we probably replace 50, 60 a year,
Okay.
white and red, you know, so, yeah, no
Because
worries.
I know we are, I don't know if it's on cold frames bit, but we are getting billed by the bulb.
I know.
And-
No, we do all that. That's part of our quote is, hey, it's just, and the nice thing about us, I mean, you know, I know ours is a lot more. I saw the quotes, and we are local. I drive through the town every night.
How many other municipalities are you guys doing?
This is it.
This is it.
I've got enough other things to do, yeah.
Well, and, you know, the one we're looking at, they've got 14 other municipalities that they're doing work for or going to be
Sure.
needing to replace things, fix things. So how long, and they're driving out from Durand, how long are we waiting?
South Lyon, actually. Their offices, their warehouse is South Lyon.
Well, that's where their P.O. box is. The quote came in from Durand.
Yeah.
No, I talked to him today.
I'm just
so you
going
know.
off of what the quote says.
Sure. And it's a 24-hour turnaround. is what they say. Hey, I'm just gonna say, this is hard. I've known these guys for years. I got a CSA for them. This is one of the hardest things, is when you have quotes and there are people
It's
you know
business.
and you see that
You
and
can't- you
and
can't-
it just stinks. There's
Yeah, you
just no
just-
two ways
You're
about
not gonna
it.
cry about it. It's business, but I just wanted to come tonight and tell you thank you. If
Absolutely.
we get it, we get it. We don't, we don't.
I'm very new, I do appreciate what you've done.
Yeah, sure.
I've seen it for years,
Sure.
even before I've been in the area. Where are you located? You are,
33 in Campground Road.
so you're.
Yeah, I grew up in, I grew up in Romeo. I've been here since '67.
And,
Should get your salad.
and then, I guess I just wanted to make a comment to the board. Let's also keep in mind, and I always hate this phrase, but you do get what you pay for. And
That's right.
what I really appreciate, Elizabeth, is that you're looking at the budget the way you are, and you've brought together those numbers, and I'm concerned if those numbers increase than what you just listed. But I do want to put out there, as far as my short time in the village, I'd hate to lose consistency, okay? And of course, things change. I'm not saying we don't change anything, but let's just keep that in mind.
I'm kind of there with you, Jen. I'm looking at the quote of just over 11 and then the history, and it's a price that we got back in 2019. And then I'm looking, comparing what they quoted for the Halloween or whatever you want to call it, or Screech. It's only a couple grand. Oh no, it's a lot.
No, there's.
Sorry, I was looking at the $9,000 one. I'm like, that's not a lot, and it's a lot more work.
No, it's a different vendor.
Gotcha. Sorry, I was looking at the MHM. It makes me nervous that it's gonna be a lot more than they thought. Because you guys have done it
Yeah.
and you know how much it really takes.
I do value the
I know.
local tie as well. You know, we do a lot of flowers in the village, as we know. It takes somebody local every night. They're driving around and looking and seeing what needs what. And most of the time gets taken care of. And, you know, value this work again, like I said, and I understand the budget, but I just want to make those few points here.
I appreciate that.
Do you have any money trees out in that cold frame farm? You can come up with $9,000.
I could use one myself.
Could we get
Okay.
somebody to sponsor the lighting?
Well, this is where we used to talk about throwing our events and spending a lot of money in one day as opposed to spreading it out and enjoying it over time. So this is where we have to make those choices again. Before, we were making the choice to not do these events and then take the money and spread it out. If we're going to go the other way, then you just go the other way. Now we're doing events and we're taking away from the long-term stuff. We gotta
You're actually not taking away the
decide.
dollar amounts are this, are pretty close to the same of what they were in last year's budget for
That-
the
but that's not
decorations
what I'm
and
saying,
whatnot.
though.
I see what Megan's saying. She's saying, are you putting more money into one-day events or couple-day events, or are you doing something that's going to last months at a time?
Yeah.
More people can enjoy it. Maybe you break that down by an hourly spend or a daily spend, and it changes the argument altogether.
Yeah. We just, in the past, because I've been here for many years, so we had a different focus. If this group is refocusing, then that's what we do.
Well, when was it with, I know before bands started doing the flowers again, it was sourced out of, I believe, like
Lexington?
Lexington.
Yeah.
And then we went back to vans, even though they were more expensive, if I remember correctly, and because of, it wasn't the same, I don't know, I wasn't on the board at that time. I'm just going off the history.
That's like in the middle of kid number 1 and 2 and my brain. I don't know that it was less, it was closer. I think at that point we were sticking with the local, is what I recall. I can't recall.
Okay, we have a motion to approve Faith Lawn property maintenance to install and maintain.
I don't think we do have a.
We don't have a motion.
No, they're,
No, I'm making the motion, sorry.
Oh, you're making it?
Yes. So we can take a vote here and see where we land. I make a motion to approve the Faith Lawn property maintenance to install and maintain 2022-23 winterscape lighting and live greens at the cost of $11,149 with a maintenance cost not to exceed $1,200 for a total of $12,349. Do we have a second?
Do we have a date as to how long this quote for this estimate is good for, and by what date they have to have an answer to get everything ordered?
I'd have to look back at the RFQ, so, no, I don't have that answer.
Do we have a second? Bill second the motion.
Okay,
You do a roll call, Elizabeth?
sure. Kellogg,
Yes.
Malzahn,
No?
Brandt,
No.
Rose,
No.
Hayes,
No.
Poznanski,
No.
Stevens,
Yes.
and Parker.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so motion failed.
I'll make a motion to approve the purchase of the winter green festivities from Cold Frame Farm in the amount of $20,500. I just would like to add the caveat that if we could maybe request a field trip or some pictures from the other municipalities that are serviced by this vendor, just,
Is that part of your motion, or?
Well-
I'm just clear.
yeah.
That's a long
I would
motion.
just like to do a little bit of research on them, just to verify. I've not heard of them. I know they service 12 other municipalities, so I would just like to have eyes on the ground or some pictures of what they actually are producing. I'm sure you could reach out to DDAs in some of those other communities and do that as
You guys could
follow-up.
pay for a trip between Christmas and,
Right.
for Boyne City, that'd be sweet.
But my motion will be to approve the purchase from Cold Frame Farm.
I'd second that.
So what's the reason for the request from the other vendor?
I think it's just more for future reference.
Right.
It just,
If we bid this out again, right, if we bid this out again,
For the next.
yes. we
So
would-
that's not part of the motion?
No.
Is, okay.
My motion is to approve the purchase from Cold Frame Farm of $20,500. I shouldn't
Okay.
have confused that. I would like some
Per
follow-up.
the quote?
Per the quote, yes.
Okay, thank you for the clarity. So I'm gonna need to, work with somebody as far as budget goes, because it's, well outside of our budget, so I'm not sure. The idea Fairy's really good, but, she's been busy lately, so I'm not quite sure where you guys wanna do with that, but, at some point, somebody's gonna need to give me some direction on that.
Well, maybe you go out for public donation again, sponsoring the winter lights.
Yes, Scarefest start,
Screech Fest.
Screech Fest start, whatever.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so Christine made the motion, Carl seconded. Can you do a roll call, please?
Sure. Kellogg,
Oh, can you repeat the motion?
The motion was to approve the purchase of our winter green and holiday decorations from Cold Frame Farm in the amount of $20,500.
Yes.
Malzahn,
Yes?
Rose,
Yes.
Hayes,
yes.
Poznanski,
Yes.
Brandt,
Yes.
Stevens,
Yes.
Parker.
No,
Okay.
I can't bring myself on a 40% differential.
I understand.
All right, Matt, and your lights got ordered, or we can order the lights and we're good to go.
Good.
All right, sounds good.
Good. I'm gonna throw in a tree.
I know, we talked about it.
I don't know where you like it.
Can we get one of those cool town on the green styles?
Well.
I really miss those years when that
Yeah,
crab
but-
apple tree was
I'm
wrapped
pushing
with
that
those
tree,
red
but I
lights.
don't know where you wanna put it, so you guys think about it, we'll get it, but it's gotta be out of, vision when you turn corners.
We'll figure it out.
Decide where you wanna put it. I'll include that with the bid.
Right.
We'll figure it out.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
I'm thrilled to be working with you again, because you guys are easy to, you know, I mean, it's a simple, but from a budget perspective, I had to present them with, so. Okay.
Thank you so much.
And I'm assuming you'll just get that
We're
to
gonna
me
have to
when,
work that budget a little
we'll
harder.
talk later.
We'll figure it out.
All right.
The next up was the downtown trolley, and I think we're just going, do you just want,
There's nothing, did you get the updated agenda?
There's nothing in the packet.
There's nothing in the packet,
There's
correct?
nothing in the packet.
There's no supporting documents for it.
this was just information.
Wait, aren't we still, wasn't there more? I got a different agenda.
You had a new agenda handed out, so you have A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. It was in the
All right, I
supporting
might have missed
documents
some.
with your.
Sorry, you're right.
Thank you.
So we're on item E.
We're on item E. Elizabeth had come to Elizabeth and I about this. We're not going to vote on anything, it's just an idea bringing forward to this board. You want to talk about it a little bit?
I mean, there's not a lot to talk about. Elizabeth and I talked, gosh, months and months ago about, you know, an idea and a goal that we would love a downtown trolley. I know Lake Orion and Oxford have one, Port Huron has a couple, they rent out. It's definitely something that I've heard in the community people would like to see. You know, the used ones cost anywhere between $20,000 and $30,000, and they are around. They're around Michigan and Ohio, so you know, it would definitely be an investment. There would obviously be some liability issues, and we'd need, you know, an employee and scheduling and all those things. But I think you know, at some point we can sit down and look at.
Whatever happened with Carol's trolley?
Jason,
These are actual drivable ones, you don't have to have the tractor pulling
Yeah, they're
the thing.
closed and,
Yeah,
you know,
you can use them
fit like
year-round.
20
But
people.
what Zach and I talked about, well, let's put that on our goals and objectives for next year.
Maybe even do you know, are they, is it something you could rent for like an event that it could?
Right,
we
you
could
could
kind
hook
of
up
like
to-
try it before we buy it kind of thing, see what the interest is like, or just to rent it
Yeah,
out
yeah.
for a couple of events.
I
and see
don't know
what the buy-in's
around
like.
here. I mean, I know there's, you know, they don't use them a lot for weddings, so I'm sure that we could. But we would definitely make our money back, I believe, within a year for sure. It's definitely an investment.
I think it's something to look at, and we can further.
Something nice to represent the DDA in a parade all the time.
Mhm.
I mean, like Grand Haven, they rent theirs out for $225 an hour.
Who are they renting it to? Oh, so we would be renting it to other municipalities or?
No.
We would
events?
rent it to, like a bridal party, a group of girls wanna
Gotcha.
rent it for
Okay, so this isn't something that
one.
would be running on a regular basis?
No,
or
no,
something?
no, no.
Okay.
But we would use it for our Peach Fest and Screech Fest.
I'm gonna guess you get some business participation as well, as far as whether it's
Advertising.
advertising, donations, what
Yep.
have you,
Mhm.
so,
Yeah,
you know, that should be.
It could be a potential income maker.
for sure.
But it's definitely worth, because there was a.
We had
Romeo
that trolley,
that-
yeah.
That
What-
was, it was pulled by a
Tractor.
tractor,
Yep.
essentially, and
Where would
they.
we store it?
Where would
no
we store it?
longer
I don't know.
around.
Store it somewhere and you have
Well,
to-
that's something,
And you have to pay and you budget for
There's
maintaining
Okay.
definitely a lot
it,
to
and you have
it. No
to,
doubt there's, I'm sure, a lot
Yeah.
of
So-
logistics, but we can talk.
Sounds
right,
like
we'll
a
talk
job.
about that for goals
Sounds
and
like a job.
objectives. Okay. On
So there's a few of us that are going to be at the MDA event on Wednesday night in Lake Orion. So we're actually going to be on their trolley, going from Lake Orion to Oxford. So that'll be fun to experience that and, you know, take some notes. So for sure.
It's way less work than one of those pedal pub push things where you have to like
Those are
drink and
terrible.
pedal at the same time, right? You just bring your cooler and you just hang out in the
Oh, you
trolley.
can drink in the trolley?
Can you get in the trolley?
We have when we've gone on Christmas light tours.
Okay,
Friends, yeah.
on to F, 2022 fall decor. Vance Valley has done this in the past. This would be their last time performing this service as they are retiring. But based on research available, this has not been put out to bid before. So starting in 18, we paid them $250, then it was $550, $500. Last year, this was not even something voted by the board. We paid them $1,400 to do the decorations. So this year, they're looking for the amount of $1,850.
So there's an actual quote attached to it in Ray's handwriting there. He sent me a picture of it over the weekend. This had not gone out for RFQ before, but this is something that you've had in the past. And one of my goals is to not have anything be last minute. Especially your fall and your Christmas lights in the past, some of them weren't approved until a couple of weeks before they were supposed to go up. I can't work like that. So knowing that we only have, you know, since Ray has done this before, I said, can you come up with a quote for me? Got it over the weekend. That's why it was included for you here. And waiting until September, I don't think would be a good idea. So that's why you have it before you as it is.
I'd like to make a motion to approve Vans Valley for the installation and removal of fall decor as presented in the amount of $1,850.
I'll second.
Roll call?
Okay. Kellogg,
Yes.
Malzahn?
Yes?
Rose?
Yes.
Hayes?
Yes.
Poznanski?
Yes.
Brant?
Yes.
Stevens?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Our squirrels will be very happy because they're very busy when those corn stalks come to town, let me tell you.
Yep.
Okay, item G, 2022 Connecting Entrepreneurial Communities Conference in Alma, Michigan.
Yes, so I received the email that you all got. I forwarded, actually, it's in the background information there from Vicki Rowinski from the county, and then Christine had forwarded on, and it wasn't until this weekend when I was going through my email that I noticed that the county is offering to pay a certain number of registration fees for participants. So I reached out to the person who's in charge of that, and actually they are willing to pay for both my fee and Madison's fee. It's just up in Elma. It's a 24-hour thing. Obviously, there's an overnight. There was a conference that you had previously approved in May that I did not attend due to family issues, and so I'm asking for an amount not to exceed the amount that was previously approved in May. You see the background information there. I honestly feel the topics covered and the fact that it's in downtown, you're doing these breakout sessions in businesses, in the different, all the different spaces, the retail and the dining and the business spaces. One of the areas that is exciting to me is the power of public art. I know, Zach, you and I have talked when I came on board, you said, how do we get more art in Romeo? And to learn more about that, I think, is quite valuable. And the timing of it is quite nice, too. And the fact that some of it is funded by the county is enticing to me.
So this also includes, the fee includes your breakfast and lunch for both days?
It does, yeah. And the networking dinner on Wednesday night, and then the breakout sessions as well. Mm-hmm.
I'll make a motion to approve the executive director and admin/event coordinator to attend the Connecting Entrepreneurial Communities Conference in an amount not to exceed $500.
I'll second.
Roll call?
That second was Kellogg, yes?
Yep. Yes.
Okay. Kellogg?
Yes.
Malzahn?
Yes?
Rose?
Yes.
Hayes?
Yes.
Poznanski?
Yes.
Stevens?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Brandt?
Yes.
All right, thank you. You all will not be disappointed, and you think she was excited about talking about the event tonight. I can't imagine. Thank you for trusting us with that, and we'll bring back some great stuff for that. That'll be a busy week, because we'll have a board meeting that Monday, so. And
Oh,
it is
is
only
it?
7:11, wow.
Board member comments. Bill? Nope. Megan? No? John?
No, I'm set.
I'd just like to remind everybody the Chamber runs the Children's Parade, and we are trying to build that up over Peach Fest. So you people with little people, come on, let's get on board. It's a Disney theme.
Oh.
Do you have?
I have a flyer.
Flyer?
Yep. Mhm.
I was gonna say, we gotta contact gymnastics,
Gymnastics.
American Gymnastics, we have lots of little people around there.
I'll give you the flyer. Okay. Elizabeth? Nothing? Christine?
No, I'm all set.
Madison, great job with Vintage Fest. It was another successful event in downtown.
Carol?
What
What he said, right?
I'm all good.
Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Was that Bill?
Yes, that was Bill.
Okay.
Second.
Hayes?
Look at Bill. Do you see the time?
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
Okay, this might have been record time.
I know.
And that was a really full agenda. Wow.